thing at like, I swear it was like in Times Square, and they had these pair of sunglasses that were like awesome looking, you know, like old retro looking, and it says, and underline, it's just glasses, says Shinesty, and it says, I want to sit on your face.
Oh, it's like a billboard.
Oh my God, it was so funny. So anyway, yeah, they were saying, they're like, we don't have anyone, it's Alden House, like it's 23-year-old redhead kid that just makes up all these things. They even said when they're getting the shoots for all their clothes, all the employees go up to like a llama farm or some shit, and they're sitting next to buffalo or
all the product photos of their employees.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if they're still, but like from what I was listening to, and like, so anyway, I just.
Can you imagine that being a perk in the job listing?
Oh
come work for us, and you could actually model the clothes.
Well, yeah, and and some of the employees were like, "This is like no other job I've ever had."
Welcome to The Experience, brought to you by Weave.com, a show that explores what it takes to compete on customer experience and build an online company that can last decades. As always, thanks for being a supporter of the show.
Today's show is going to be a real doozy, and it's a company that's called Shinesty. It's a very, very interesting one. I was actually introduced to this by you, but I'm bringing it to the show today.
Well, I'm excited to see what you've learned about
it. You brought the drink after hearing what the brand was. So what was the drink?
Okay, so today's drink. So we like to pick a drink that kind of complements the topic at hand. So today's called The Last Word.
Okay.
The reason I chose it is kind of like what I do know a little bit about Shinesty, and what I do know is they don't follow the normal pattern.
Yeah.
They go to their own margin. This drink is actually an old drink. It's like a 100-year-old drink.
Oh, wow.
Pre-Prohibition, but it doesn't follow like the rules of most other drinks.
Okay.
It takes all these weird flavors, but the way it combines them together makes this thing.
It just works?
I think it works.
Yeah.
I will actually say, as weird as this drink can be, and that's not for everyone necessarily, but I think it's a delicious drink. And it's even one that you'll find people at parties that who don't like classic cocktails. You'll get one of these and they're in love.
Yeah, it's good. There's a lot. It's definitely, like you said, there's a lot going on, but it's work. There's some citrus there. I also love this bougie thing because it kind of matches the Shinesty brand, where they're kind of outlandish. You know what I mean? Like this.
Well, if nothing else.
And so, it just cracks me up.
You can see them sitting here drinking those.
Yeah. Okay, so let's open up with a little bit more detail around Shinesty itself.
Give us some context.
So, at a high level, so again, it's called Shinesty. They say on their LinkedIn and everywhere else that we created Shinesty for one reason and one reason only: to force the world to not take life, to not take it too seriously. So, if you go to their site, you check out their brand, their Instagram, anything you look at, even probably their opening, imagery on their site. It's definitely not it's very joking, right? And they've got a lot of. I think the word I keep thinking about when I think of the brand is just outlandish. It's just so out there, and it's not for everyone, but it's they definitely don't shy away from who they are. And
do you think is that part of why they exist? They're trying to shake stuff up, or they just see an opportunity to do that?
I think it's that, and I think it's also it's a very interesting just way of they've built a cult-like following, it seems like, and I think that they're segmenting the other people out before they even get in, just seeing how loud they are, So, all right, so some details. So it was founded in 2013. I found, it looks like there's 3 or 4 founders. I couldn't quite get the details, but a couple guys, from what I saw, they actually did a reality show on MTV.
Before Shinesty?
No, after they, so this company, which kind of blew my mind, they've actually had quite a decent amount of funding.
Oh, Shinesty has?
Yeah, they've had a couple seed rounds. I guess you could say they're all, the size of them, they're probably all seed rounds.
What year did
those total, 2015 was the first one. So it launched
so they've been doing this for a couple of years.
Couple years. They get some money, 230K, then they get $1 million, another 600, that sounds like a debt round maybe or something, and then a 3.4 million. So 5.4 million total. So anyway, that kind of surprised me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's basically, so from what I gathered, a couple guys from Colorado, they teamed up. They actually seem like pretty smart guys. They launched this thing, and it's just a very, very loud thing. And I remember you got a Christmas suit. You got a suit for the Christmas party for your company, and
that was actually probably second or third suit for me.
Okay, yeah. So, all right, so let's start there. So, and I think too, just understanding for the people listening, it's their vision, I guess, or their business goals is they're not, I don't think they're trying to be for everyone. They just want to kind of bring some, some lightheartedness,
Well, yeah,
right?
so
like I
let-
guess
let-
just some funny
yeah, so let me interject there
pieces
for
to
a second,
things that
'cause,
are,
like,
could be
'cause-
like more serious, you know?
Sorry, I cut that last part off. So
Like
the-
it seems like they're bringing a little bit more of a humorous side to things, like a Christmas party, right?
Yeah.
Everybody kind of gets dressed up, but someone walks in with a funny suit. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, that's hilarious.
Well,
So-
what's interesting too, from what I'm excited all the stuff you found out because I only know the surface of it. But I know that initially when they were selling their stuff, you could get those suits from a number of places.
Oh,
And
really?
they-
Not just their site?
No, no.
Oh, okay.
And so they were being manufactured by someone else, and I presume
Okay.
now they're probably doing it themselves.
Okay.
But they wrap this brand around, and you said something kind of in passing that is really interesting, which is they did just, and we're going to dive more into this, I'm sure, but they do such a good job of like being like who they are. Like there's a real clear identity that it is a little polarizing, but it's kind of intentional, like you said. So it's a filter to get the right kind of people.
Right.
And the people who want those kind of things going to show up with those things. That's what they by design or just by being who they are or whatever, they've really done a good job of like teaming it up. And
No,
I think,
absolutely.
So I think from a business perspective, I don't know if they did it intentionally or not, but there's this weird vacuum you're talking about where they can go in and do this, right?
Yes.
They create kind of a market for themselves almost because they have the branding really that they do is probably like top class
Oh, yeah.
example. But I'm curious, like when you think of like let's walk through the experience of it. Like,
Yeah.
from the, like
That's
what does it
it,
actually feel like?
So as I went through it, right? So I guess for those that are maybe new to the show, when we're walking through a company, we're usually looking at an experience in the sense of almost like dating someone, right? So what's helping, what's hurting, what's kind of, this made a good impression, this made a bad impression. So as we kind of, maybe you can talk, you can like interject when there's maybe something you remembered from your experience because you bought a couple pieces of clothing from them. So I would say to start, I think that their thing that they're really doing well is their branding and identity.
Yeah.
I've never seen, it's really, I guess I shouldn't say that. It's really, really hard to pull off the consistency from your branding and your voice and your messaging and your identity to a consumer across everything. So from the site to their social accounts to their support tickets. I mean, even your story about when you had to return your suit and how hilarious that was and the way they talked to you. And I mean, I think you told me it was like, it sounded like you were talking to some surfer dude, but he was super.
So, I mean, like, because you have like two things you brought up there, right? Both of them they do really well. One is they like who they are, like their personality, like for your relationship, the relationship metaphor, like dating, like that's a discreet person, like they are, and I'd be curious for you to tell me a little bit more if that's just brilliant marketing or if that's actually who these cats are. But like they have this very clear identity, but then there's the other side of that coin, which is how well they communicate it. And it's one thing to have it like on your website that you work on and you just push and press.
Yep.
But man, every time I've engaged those guys, like through their marketing, through their sales channels, through their hell on their social accounts, and even like you said, support, it's the same exact person I'm dating that entire time. Like it's very consistent, which is really kind of exciting and comforting because it just makes me feel, because one, I care, like they've already filtered me in that I actually like them, right?
Right.
And then when I actually have those other touch points that match up, they're doing a really good job there.
Oh yeah. Yep. So yeah, I mean, I could go on and everything. Even like their email opt-in when it pops up, the way they talk, it's so funny. It's like just how they talk about spam. Their product descriptions are amazing. It's hilarious just to go on their site, just look at things. In fact, have you seen their ski suits, by the way? We got to get one of those.
It just snowed today. It's the first day.
It just snowed and the ski season's here. So
melt some snow in them
my
suits.
gosh, it's hilarious. So, all right. So a few other things. So in terms of marketing and sales, just how customers are finding them. I think this is one of those companies and products and brands that they've built where you create this loyalty and these brand ambassadors without even realizing it. And so everyone's talking about them that buys from them. So like they almost have this built-in marketing machine from their own customers who are going to be the best people to recommend it.
And I think why that happens, frankly, in this case, so there's like anywhere, if you have a really good experience, you're going to talk about it, right? Or if you have a shitty experience, you're going to probably not talk about it or not do anything. So there's that kind of base layer, but their stuff is so fucking crazy. You show up somewhere and you are like the odd cat out, right?
Right.
So people are like, where the hell did you get this? So if you take this like curiosity their product generates when people use it, and then that gets applied to the fact that you had a fantastic experience in getting it, it's just, I can see how it's like a wildfire kind of. I love how you say like everyone's a brand ambassador. At that point. Yeah. So
real quick, so when you got, so this is a little bit different than some of the other companies we feature on the show because it's not all online, right? So it's e-commerce. You buy a package. It's been a great experience so far. The package gets to your house. Do they
like?
do they repeat? Do they keep the emulate?
Yeah.
Like
So what happened there is like, so I had the experience initially, which is this is just interesting and intriguing. First, because of the product, it probably came up in some ad somewhere. I don't remember anymore.
Yep.
But then you get to the experience of actually where to go buy it, which could have been a shitty like e-commerce experience, but you're still intrigued by the product.
Yeah.
But instead, like the crazy descriptions,
Right.
like the kind of just feeling like, okay, these guys are kind of cool.
Yeah.
Then when it shows up, it's this bright. I don't know if it's still the way today. It's probably been a year or two since I got one, but or about a year. But they had this gorgeous red box it showed up in, and it had the like really simple, pretty branding. So it has their name, which it's got this big cursive kind of font. Shinesty across the top in white on this red box. It's already like I'm a kid at Christmas.
Yeah, sure.
The thing shows up. I open it up, and the suit I've ordered is wrapped in like tissue paper inside, like colorful tissue paper. So it's like, and it's just a cheesy like $100 suit.
Yeah.
And I get it out. The suit itself is actually surprisingly decently made
Oh,
for
really?
the price it is.
Nice.
And the support thing you'd asked me about. Do you want me to mention that?
Yeah.
So that I got it in, and the reason I got this was I can't remember if this was the first or second one I got, but I'm going to Mexico, and I'm going with some friends, and we're going to this party where a few of us are going to show up, and it's the main reason. Like that's half the reason. If you think of like why people hire products to solve a problem or jobs kind of idea.
Yep.
You're hiring that one because you want to be kind of the cool, weird, different person if you like that personality. So we were going to show up and be these guys. Well, my suit shows up, and it looks like I'm wearing like two people's suits. Like
it's just huge.
Way too big.
It's
way
just
too big
huge
because I messed up or something. So that's when I call them up like, hey guys, I'm leaving like in a week for this trip. Can you help me out? And that's where I get a guy who could have easily gone off the script like, oh, hey, thanks for calling Shinesty. We can totally help you. But instead, which I think was through email, it was like he's just talking kind of shit in a funny way. He's like, oh man, we hate it when like that doesn't work. Like it's too bad when your hot dog's too small for the bun or your bun's too small for the hot dog. We'll say the right size. I'm like, all right. So they send a size.
That's awesome.
They send a suit to me like pronto. And so the whole experience, like, and I've had that before where actually the support experience actually.
Right.
Where I've had an okay experience in the purchase and other product, and the support experience has actually made me go out of my way. And you know that I don't usually take a lot of time to go like share my opinion like online. Yeah. But those are the kind of ones where I go past that friction point and I'll be like, I'll go to the top of the mountain and sing for these people.
Yep. That's awesome. Okay, so here's where I feel like, and again, this is just I have not bought from them, but this is where I feel like they're maybe missing some of the mark.
Okay.
And like the whole relationship, I'm dating this, person, and I'm like, ooh. So I was on their site, walking around, browsing around, and just laughing my ass off at all the descriptions and everything. But it just felt like, a couple dudes started a site, and it just the performance of it, right? Like it was so slow.
I do know what you're talking
and
about.
Even like when I added stuff to my cart and the cart itself feeling like secure, and even in terms of like just from a business like upsells or guarantees or like refund policy, like everything. Yeah, like it just felt really janky and like 1999. Like it just, and again, like now knowing too, like that's why I brought up some of the. I think it's awesome you bring up the funding because these guys have a decent amount of funding. They're clearly doing well. Like. It's just weird to me that they haven't thought to, especially in this day and age, right? To not invest. And I feel like they're investing in their customers in so many different ways, which is great. But if you're going to be an e-commerce site and you're going to sell these products, I just feel like you need to invest in that area.
I do remember I remember actually us looking at the site together. Was that on a laptop or phone? Or have you done it on a phone as well?
No.
But it definitely had that feeling like where it felt like compared like 7-year-old kind of e-commerce site, give or take, right? Which is interesting, like it worked. Right. To your point, like the tide is pretty high above that. So, but your experience in coming to it with fresh eyes was that you felt like, so one, it kind of gave you friction, I'm guessing, in just browsing, right?
Right.
And enjoying that experience.
Well,
and then was it a trust thing too?
It was the trust thing, but I'll tell you the biggest underlying issue, why I think it's one of their biggest issues, is Shinesty to me is a brand that's built around impulse decision making. So you're sitting down with your friends, you're laughing your ass off, you got the Christmas party, you're gonna go skiing over and coming to Salt Lake, coming to Vail, wherever you're gonna go skiing. You guys are like, hey, let's go buy these suits. You know what I mean? You get on there and it's clunky and it's slow, or the Christmas party's coming up, you're with your girlfriend, you're with your buddies, you're trying to get matching sweaters, and you're just like, dude, this site is so slow and I can't find what I'm looking for, and you know what I mean? Like,
it's a good call out because I think too it's not a hard. it's not hard to do that anymore. It used to be.
Yeah.
But today, like
in 2019,
even if they spun up, I mean,
it's almost 2020. Yeah.
Exactly. But I mean, yeah, exactly. That's a really, I think, a good point.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. They definitely hit. I think branding's like their strong suit. Consistency is super impressive. You know how hard it is for us to actually get that note.
And they're so good at it.
So hats off to them there. Did you learn anything about like, do they just have like a really brilliant like agency, or is this them doing all this stuff?
When I was listening to that reality thing, they were saying that, you know, like everyone always asks them, you know, like they had this thing at like, I swear it was like in Times Square, and they had these pair of sunglasses that were like awesome looking, you know, like old retro looking, and it says, and it's just glasses, says Shinesty, and it says, I want to sit on your face.
Oh, it's like a billboard.
Oh my God, it was so funny. So anyway, yeah, they were saying, they're like we don't have anyone. It's Alden House, like it's 23-year-old redhead kid that just makes up all these things. They even said when they're getting the shoots for all their clothes, all the employees go up to like a llama farm or some shit, and they're sitting next to buffalo or
all the product photos of their employees.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if they're still, but like from what I was listening to, and like, so anyway, can
you imagine that being a perk in the job listing?
Oh
come work for us, and you could actually model the clothes.
Well, yeah, and some of the employees were like, "This is like no other job I've ever had."
Oh, really? What were some of the comments?
Just that was it. Like they were just saying, like just going to a llama field to do a photo shoot, and then I'm coming back, and we're making these funny clothing designs or these underwear with these. You know,
well, because I mean, if you think about their business, so to go from the other side of that lens for a second, from the customer experience.
Yep.
So, like you said, they've got a physical goods business. So who knows where they're funding when it went towards like, you know, infrastructure for like, you know, production and stuff, or getting those chains set up. They have their branding and communication and marketing, which they're clearly nailing, and to their credit, they've done consistently.
Yeah,
it feels like,
for sure.
Because even now, like I think I get catalogs in the mail from them, so they're always doing more. And then they have this idea of actually like kind of sales and fulfillment.
Mm-hmm.
Support side's good, but yeah, that point you're bringing up, like that would be kind of easy picking to like just clean that up. And it'd be interesting too, what that actually is kind of equally concerning about, if you don't have that good level playing field for having just like a good e-commerce experience, I would suspect it's going to be harder and harder to actually try and have a, it's one thing to have someone come to your store and open the door and come in and want to browse the aisles, right?
Yeah.
But that's less and less the case anymore. You're going to basically show up where they're at and do it well. So more than just an ad on Facebook, like how are they going to have these kind of micro shopping experiences if they can't do that?
I think if they can do that a lot faster, a lot more streamlined, it's such a novelty and such an impulse thing that they have to hit the mark like 100% on that.
So tell me this. So given what you know about them, or what are the things that like you think are transferable? Like what are the things that would be transferable from what they do that would really be smart to like apply elsewhere?
Like in any other kind of online business?
Yeah.
Definitely that's like, I mean, anyone can go look at Shinesty. Just go Google Shinesty, go look at their site, go look at their Twitter profiles, and just look at the consistency and look at the frequency and look at just the voice, the brand voice across. It's so spot on. And even down, like you said, I can't say it enough, but just as you get bigger with a company, I mean, we've experienced this, right? Like when your support team kind of gets it, you're trying to create processes so everything's handled, but you lose some of that freedom and that thing that customers like, right? And so just the fact they've been able to do it across the board, plus their support piece, plus product description, like I just think that that's so amazing.
Well,
that they pulled that off.
It's a guess, but I'm wondering if two things are playing in their hand here, or to put it differently, these would be two things that would help make that process easier. One would be the more authentic you are to however you normally roll.
Yep.
Then the easier it is to like produce that stuff, to be consistent, right? You're just not trying to put on a different face than what the company's DNA is. Secondly, and it kind of feeds off the first one, if that DNA is really there, then the more you empower each of those people, like support or other channels or the people writing the product descriptions, to have kind of a certain amount of range just to do it, then they're going to hit those notes, right? They're not having to follow a script or worry about, you know, some little bottleneck that tries to constrain all that, you know, thinking.
Well, the other thing I like about it too is sometimes when we break down other experiences or other brands, it's one of those things that can be applied, you know, depending on the stage of the company, whatever strategy they're using could be applied.
Yeah.
Something like this can be applied across any stage of company, right? Like it's just something to strive for. Is just that like consistent user and brand voice across everything.
Well, honestly, man,
so I think that's like a really cool thing that we could take. You know, if you're watching the show, listening to this, I think that's a big thing to take away.
Well, can I just put one other point on that? Like, so that is one of the things that most big companies fuck up.
Yeah.
And so if you can,
because they're driven by processes,
Yeah,
especially
so
down lower, like the lower level people, they're driven by
so
other
if you
processes.
can actually lean into, like, when you're not that big company, or if you can be smart enough to do it when you're in the big company, but like if you can lean into that,
Yep.
like you're suddenly going to be worlds ahead. And like, again, the whole premise of this is, at a certain point, price is not going to matter. At a certain point, functionality and features aren't
already
going to matter.
there.
Exactly. That parity is like just, it's a tide that keeps rising, and all boats are moving. So, but if you can actually nail, like, invest in what you're talking about, like that consistency, however Shinesty's done it, they certainly are a good example of it. That's one where it goes back to what you said earlier, which is people are going to have that fantastic experience. And if you've got a product that other people in their circles are going to care about, then they're going to become your salespeople on the floor.
Yeah. So I mean, and then I guess just like, it's also a good reminder to all of us that just two things. I have one more, praising that I think people could apply if you're listening. It's just, there's obviously the consistency part, but just they've done a really good job of understanding who their customers are and how to attract them, and
like filtering. You mean?
Just the way they filter and the way that they. I just feel they just seem to have a good sense of who they are and how to make them. Like, they know that this is a novelty. They know it's an impulse decision. They're trying to track jokes. They're trying to come across like, hey, bro, what's up, man? Like, welcome. Like, what do you need, man? Like, you know what I mean? And so I just think that if you can take a hard look, take a 180, put yourself in your customer's shoes, whatever your product, whatever your service is, and think about how your customer's mindset is as they enter your product, or they enter your store, or they enter your experience, or they enter whatever you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, it sounds really simple. I know that that's fundamental stuff, but it's just a good reminder. You know what I mean? To take a second to be like, okay, am I approaching my customers the right way?
Yeah, for sure.
So I got that a lot. Like, I just felt like they were just really spot on. And they weren't afraid, and I guess they weren't afraid to be like, if this person didn't match that.
Oh God, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm almost a little on the fence with Shinesty, where it's, I don't know if I'd necessarily ever buy anything, but then like the skiing thing, when I was thinking about with me and you, I was like, I'd love to go skiing at that with like, just rip it off, have nothing underneath but the underwear, and just rock just my underwear down the slopes. But like, again, I would need 5 minutes, you know what I mean? Because I'd talk myself out of it. So I'd need the 5 minutes just to buy it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So that if they're on my way, I'm gonna bail.
I mean, that, truthfully, man, like, we've talked about this before, but that can't be overstated. Like, you can basically be mildly attractive to everyone, or really attractive to a smaller group of people, and that's what Shinesty's doing.
Exactly. I think that was the big point.
And it has these like other dividends. Like, not only are those people going to become true buyers and they're going to become true advocates, but if you're advertising and stuff too, like, you're not attracting the bulk. You're not attracting like the lukewarm traffic that's not going to do anything for you. Like, everything just becomes more efficient. But it's a truth. It's like one of those choices that's very scary as a company, because you think you want to attract everyone. But
no, absolutely.
So, all right. So I mean, when you think about this company, like, one, I guess, is this an experience overall that you think you'd like would you recommend this to people, or what would you think? Like, would you recommend Shinesty?
So I mean, I think,
or is that
I think we're
at a drunk party, you might.
I think with kind of where we're at, and I would actually, and I think obviously it's there's a time and a place for Shinesty, right? And so, depending on the friend, and you know what I mean, like, like, this would definitely be something.
Okay, so
even just to go, like, have a buddy just go check out the site. You know what I mean? Like, but I mean, I mean, I would.
Here's what would probably happen if we were up with friends, like, on a trip. And people got drinking. It's late in the night. And we're like, someone's like, we're going to a ski trip, and you'd be like, I got it.
See,
that's what.
That's what I'm saying. The impulse thing, right? Exactly. It's just like, if it's super frictionless, you can throw them in, boom, 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 you're out. So. Anyway, but yes, I would.
So, okay, so we talked about the shopping experience. Is there anything else, if you could talk to that company and like those founders, that you'd recommend? Like, say, hey, this is, like, don't lose sight of this.
I definitely think just like overall the site, I think maybe getting a little bit more, like, their branding is really good, but just the overall site design, I think they could do a little more with it to feel, like, staff, like, even just like what the company, the most popular things, like, is like, the aesthetics are nice, but they could be polished.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where they really stand out, where it's like, wow, this place is nice. And then just the speed and performance. But I would just say, hey guys, go triple down on your site for 6 months or 3 months.
Now that you
know
say
what I
that,
mean?
it almost makes me think that like all their work's been like in these interesting ads I see in other platforms and spaces, right? So you see like they have funny ads that show up in other places.
Yep.
This, the catalog they put out now.
Yep.
But you're right, the site doesn't feel like it's caught up to the.
Well, just think about. I mean, I even think about dumb things like I added a bunch of stuff to my cart, but I never got like an abandoned cart email, right? Like, hey, you left something in your cart, come back and get it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure they have a million things that people in their carts,
or some other way to incentivize that impulse
right?
behavior,
Just something like it's just they're kind of missing the mark a little bit there.
Interesting. All right.
But overall, I loved it.
Well, we love you this Shinesty.
And I love this drink, by the way.
Do you like it now?
Yeah.
Well, that's because you've already drank it, so now it actually.
Yeah, now I feel it. Yeah, now I really get it. But it was perfect for this show.
Oh,
you did an
good.
awesome
Thanks.
job on this.
Well, they stayed for the experience, so now they should stay for the drink.
Yes.
We'll to show how you make this delicious thing.
Yeah, actually, yes. Stay around because Clayton has, he's got a whole video on how to make this drink, and it's actually you should give it a shot.
Oh, it's fun. Yeah. But if you guys watch enough of these shows, we're gonna either turn you into a really good bartender or an alcoholic. You'll find out.
Anyway, yeah, thanks for coming. We'll check you out on the next one.
Thanks a lot. Take care.
The Experience is brought to you by Weave.com, the innovative tool that is helping SaaS companies automate their customer retention. As always, thanks for being a supporter of the show. You've had the experience. Now stay for the drink.
Hey man, here we go. So we're down here. We are down here at the bar.
The bar.
Making. What are we making today?
We're going to make the last word.
Oh my god, I love this drink.
It is a very delicious drink.
Yes.
If you've not had this drink, I hope you make it for yourselves because we enjoy it here. So the last word's kind of a kooky drink. It follows the beat of its own drum. It doesn't really follow the template of other kind of normal or standard standard cocktails. This one has a mix of gin, Chartreuse liqueur, which is like an herbal liqueur. It has this pretty distinct flavor. Marashino Liqueur, sweet, and then it'll also have citrus. And we're gonna do a mix of lime and lemon. So most drinks, like you look at like old fashions, they're basically booze, a little bit of sugar, a little bit of seasoning in the way of bitters. You have things like daiquiris and sidecars, which are a mix of sugar and sour and booze. Things like martinis, Manhattans, or vermouth. They all have they're kind of the roots of the tree of all these other drinks. This one decided to say, screw it, I'm gonna put all these things in a glass and see what happens. So what we do with this guy is we take equal parts of these ingredients. So we'll start with our citrus, and we will do, we need a full ounce of citrus per drink. So we're gonna do a ½ ounce of lime and a ½ ounce of lemon. And because I'm actually doubling this recipe up, I'm gonna do a full ounce of each. So.
Where did you find this drink? Because I think
this drink found me.
You introduced me to this, but it really is like.
This is a classic. This is a classic cocktail. I don't know. This might be an early like 1900s drink, and it had.
What innovators, man!
I know, right? Actually, here's the catch. Like most cocktails, like many of the cocktails was the late 1800s, like 1860s to 1920, and then Prohibition hit. And so a lot of what we have in the last 15, 20 years has been people just starting first with getting back to those good old recipes, and then starting to innovate on them again. So there's our citrus. Per drink we have a full ounce. We did a mix of lemon and lime. Normally this drink has just lime, but the lemon kind of gives a nice little balance to it. Next I'm gonna move to our sweetener. So in this case we've got the Marashino Liqueur. Marashino Liqueur, if you've not had it, Luxardo is probably the most common brand of this. It's sweet, but it also has this kind of interesting peppery sort of taste to it.
Yeah.
And I personally love it. It's not, to everyone's palate.
It's taken me a second to get used to.
You didn't like, actually you did not like this.
No, I did not.
It is kind of like bartender's ketchup. Like they put it in a lot of drinks, and it usually makes things better. Chartreuse is definitely its own story. This thing is one of those liqueurs. It's like a 300-year-old recipe. There's like 40 monks that make it, and each monk knows one ingredient. And it's very interesting and delicious once you like the taste of it. I remember the first time I got this, and I felt like I'd actually made a horrible mistake. And now I love it in cocktails. So we have a full ounce of this. Pretty much everything's gonna be the same proportions in this drink. So thus far we've had 1 ounce of citrus, 1 ounce of maraschino, 1 ounce of chartreuse, and then we'll move on to our gin. This is actually, we live here in Salt Lake City, and this is a local gin, Beehive Distillery. These guys make good stuff. So we'll have one of these per drink. And Oh, you know what I've realized, Jay? I have made a almost fatal mistake to our cocktail.
You put the nice stuff in first?
No, I didn't do that. I actually have all the right ingredients, but this is not a stirred drink. This is a shaken drink. But I can remedy this. You stay right there. And the reason this is a shaken drink, it's actually what we like to call a moment. It's a learning moment. So whenever you have citrus in a cocktail, you'll often shake it instead of stir it. And the reason for that is it helps infuse the flavors better. Citrus is pretty strong.
Like it bonds them better when you shake it?
Yeah, so when you shake it, you're getting, well, and also it's a texture thing in these drinks. So you're aerating it. So you're getting that. You're doing the normal thing that you'd have happen both in stirring and in shaking, which is you're diluting it a bit and you're chilling it. But when you shake it, you're really fusing those flavors together a little bit more concretely. And then you're also aerating, which is the texture we want for this drink. So we just basically made a course correction. We threw that into a shaker before it was too late. And we're gonna add some ice. And we're gonna shake this bad boy for about 10 seconds. All right, grab our glasses. This drink is served up, which is in a coupe glass like this. And what we end up with is this really pretty green drink that just balances out those three weird flavors in the best possible way.
There's also some fanciness, isn't there? Isn't there
oh yeah, we have one
last
bit. So, you know, we wouldn't be this show without really appreciating the full experience of anything, right? So in this drink, that drink tastes delicious, but to really bring it to a whole new level, we're gonna dress it with a real maraschino cherry. So these are not like the kinds we used to steal out of the fridge when we were kids. Now we just steal them out of the cupboard when we're adults. And so this is an actual real maraschino cherry. Whoops, we'll kind of leave it up there. And this not only is delicious, but really gives just like the perfect kind of visual
the hoity-toityness
to that drink. So with that we have the last word.